Hello, and welcome to my second video on Boss Slayer Zero. This one will go over career mode, how the overworld works, and some of the plans we have for the next few updates. So without further ado, we're going to start a new career. Simply go into career mode, and you're now at, it's the year 2032, and you have been given an opportunity to get out of prison. You are an inmate, and you have been sentenced to life, and this representative from a corporation called Exist has come to talk to you, and you think it sounds like a good deal. So you are going to sign up. So we're going to put Stevus Hawkus. I know, very original. And there's no going back. So we're about to enter the Janus program. All right. And on that cheery note, you are now dropped into Ozymandias. So at the start of the game, you can't do anything. This is you. You're kind of running around. This is a digital construct known as Ozymandias. This is going to become your base of operations. But right now, there's nothing you can do. So you, fortunately, have a friendly little advisor up here named Pala, who is going to help you. So we're going to go see the registrar, and we're going to start. And again, remember, this is a prototype. A lot of graphics are definitely not set yet. Gotta love that Unity first-person controller model. All right, so this is the registration screen. This is where you're going to set your initial attributes and think of them as skills or stats in an RPG. You have 6 of them, and they have different modifiers. Now, one plan is for these to eventually lead into unique skill trees, so you'll be able to specialize within these attributes, and there'll be a pretty significant skill tree within each of them. But right now, they have levels from 1 to 10, and as you pick a level, they increase some of these modifiers and stats. So you also have prestige, data, and followers. So prestige essentially is your currency for purchasing equipment during battles. It's also used to upgrade your base of operations. You will be able to access the system architect and you'll be able to actually upgrade buildings and add new buildings. You'll actually even be able to unlock additional parts and build in there. You'll see some doors that as you gain enough prestige and rank, you'll be able to unlock and purchase. So a little bit of mini SimCity base building involved. Data is kind of like XP. Data is what you use to unlock pretty much everything: weapons, equipment, combat programs, power suits. So very important to gain data, and you gain data in two ways that you know of. You can earn it in battles, or you can take training programs, which I will show you. And then followers are very critical. You have to have a minimum amount of followers every month. Every month the judge will review your progress, and if you don't meet the follower goal, then essentially you're put on probation. And if you don't meet it again at any point in your career, you will be deleted. And it sounds exactly like what you think it is. So we're going to register our fighter. So energy, this basically gives us how much energy we have. So it's good to have a fair amount. So we're going to start with 2 points in that. That gives us 12 energy max, and it gives us 3 energy a day, which I could even go with 4 on that, because that's a really critical. Energy powers your programs, it powers your modules that you plug in, and it also is used to power your power suit when you go into battles, and this energy pool is drawn into that. So the more energy you have available, the more you can put into a power suit. Memory is used for combat programs and for training programs, being able to have concurrent training programs. So we want to have at least 2 program slots. I'll show you that why in a minute. Latency affects your movement. Your movement modifier when you walk and run in combat. If you watched the last video, you see that you know, your opponent was quite slow, but with a -3 modifier, you're going to be very, very slow. It also determines how many action segments you have per round. So I like to put a few points into that. 3 action segments is nice, but not critical. It just means that you want kind of your action points and your segments to match somewhat. If you have more segments, I mean, if you have more action points than segments, then you're not going to be able to use all your segments, and vice versa. Agility modifier, again, if you watch the last video, that's your base to hit number, so you want that to be as high as possible. And at a -3, that's not great, so we'll put a point into that, and we want to have 2 action points. Armor, this is your armor break, essentially how brittle your armor is, and your max armor. Armor is important, but to me not as important as some of these other things, so I'm going to leave it as it is. And finally, we have a processor. Ranged weapon mod, you want to have negative number on this, because you want to bring their to hit number down, and a negative number lowers the hit number. And then data gain, you definitely want to increase that, because that affects your data gain from training programs as well as from battles, and data essentially is XP, and it's very, very important. So I'm going to put a point into that. You can also put points, these are upgrade modules, into prestige, so you can gain a little bit more, or you can gain a little bit of extra data. But I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save an upgrade module just to have it in my pocket. You see that going up a level, it gets quite expensive, and you get kind of a geometric effect. So we'll go ahead and register the fighter. So we've moved on. You see we have our little kind of a mini tutorial. So now Rory is going to walk us through Ozymandias. Thanks, Rory. All right, so now, as you can see, we've got a full UI, and we can actually do some things, and we can go places. So, like I said, this is your Osmondius. This is your little corner of it. Osmondius is essentially the entire network. So as you can look out, eventually, when I improve the graphics, you'll be able to see all kinds of other people. It's kind of like a little version of Hades, I guess, which is kind of what it's built after. So let's take a look at the tutorial. Learn your OS. So here's your player data information. This kind of gives you a update on your attributes and whether you have any training. And this is going to get a lot more expanded, especially when you start being able to add modules to your avatar. Those are kind of ongoing effects that you can kind of plug in, but they take energy. So we'll kind of shut that. So this is your energy monitor. So this will be important. It's already important for when you have programs, because every day they take a certain amount of energy. And if you have more running than you have energy available, you get an overload. So, and if you overload, you can lose a point of your attributes. So you really don't want that to happen. All right. Active goal, train your avatar. So we're going to go to the trainer. And you just walk up, and it just takes you, you zoom in, and you go to a first-person view. All right, so these are training programs. So data, really important. And right now, I don't have any data. So she's asking me to start at least one training program. So you have daily training programs, and you have quite a few to choose from. They have different levels. What's key about training programs is all of them have a daily program draw. They take a certain amount of program capacity. And you can see this is what I talked about earlier with the memory. Right now I have 2 out of 2 program capacity. So like this one is 3 program capacity, so I can't select it. As I improve my attributes, I can add more programs. It takes 1 day, and it takes a day to cool down. A lot of the high-end program, like you see this one, takes 10 days to cool down, meaning you cannot use it again until it's completely cooled down. And this is the amount of data it gives you. It's a range, and this is a feedback chance. So this program has no feedback chance. It's a very small program. It's very minimal, so you're not going to get any feedback. So you get no additional feedback energy lost. But some programs, like this one here, 50%, you know, it's a 1-day program. You get 10 to 22 data, but it costs 12 energy, 3 slots, and if it backfires on you, it's an additional 3 energy on top of the 12 that it takes. So, and this is kind of where this panel comes into play. So just to kind of show, and you see we have kind of increasing, like here's 40%, 60%, but again, you get 5 to 12, but you could lose 5. So there's kind of a mini game within the training even now, because time is your most important factor. You're racing against the clock every month. If you don't make your follower quota, this is your followers up here. So our goal for this cycle, which is 30 days, is 22 million followers. Right now I don't have any. The only way you get followers, at least at the beginning, is to participate in battles and have people watch you and decide they want to follow you, much like real life. So you can't be training all the time. So you also have long-term programs. These are more ongoing ones. See, this one takes 3 days, this one takes 4 days, more data at the end, and they typically have lower feedback chances because they're spread over a longer amount of time, but they also use a lot of program capacity. So we'll stick to that. So we'll do 2 programs. We'll start the light training program, and then we'll also start the, now, you notice when I start the program, see how some of these have feedback overload? So I can't select it right now, but if I were to select it, it would go into the red, meaning that if it did feedback, I could lose some attributes. So I'm going to go ahead and start this program. This has a 20% chance. So you can see now, see that's my 20%, that's my 2 that I could lose, but I still have full energy. So I'm still okay even if that happens. I would lose a maximum of 7 energy. So we'll go ahead and exit. And when we take a look at our player data panel, we now see we have some active training programs. You see, you can kind of look and see, it takes some days. This is the percent chance of feedback. So you can kind of take a look, and you can also pause programs. So let's say you are, for whatever reason, you're like, nah, I got too much stuff going, I need to save up. You can go to your active programs, and you can actually pause them. You can pause them both, or you can restart them. and you'll also be able to cancel them, to delete them, but that will cost you additional energy. All right, so now we want to gain data. So we need to gain at least 10 data. So we're going to go ahead and hit end day. So this is what you do to essentially end your turn. And then it will calculate and give you an end of day notice, and you'll progress a day in the cycle. So we'll hit end day. So this is our daily report. Right, so we gained both programs completed. They did not have any feedback. And when you have feedback, essentially it stops the program. It takes an additional day. So, so we got 4 data. Again, they're little programs. So we used 5 data. Sorry, 5 energy, and we gained 3. So we actually lost 2 energy, but we knew that. So now this is our daily energy because we don't have anything running, and we get 3 energy a day. So, so we're going to go back, and we're going to run some more programs. And now you see these 2 are cooling down, so we cannot select them. So we have to kind of take a chance. We can either use this moderate training program, which takes 2 slots but is a lot safer, or we can go the risky route and do a 40 or 60% chance of losing an additional 4 or 5 energy on top of the 4 and 6. So ideally, if I were playing this, I would probably do the moderate, but to kind of show what's happening, I'm going to do a fairly high chance. So I'm going to start this program. All right, so you see it. Now we're getting kind of dicey. See, I can only absorb essentially 1 day of this program running. If it feeds back, which again is a 60% chance, it's a pretty high chance, then I will lose 11 energy, and I only have 12. So we'll go ahead and escape, and we will end our day, see what happens. Oh, okay, so we did, that little sound means that yes, we did have feedback. So I lost 8 energy. So see, I'm down to 4. So now feedback is likely, because you see if that happens again, and you'll notice it's still running. It didn't end because it basically overloaded, and so it didn't complete the daily cycle. So now I have a couple options. I can try and let it run again, and if that happens, then I will lose even more. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see what happens. So I'm gonna take a risk. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to end day. Oh, and it happened. Okay, so overload. This is what happened. So you see, I'm like, ah. So I lost. So essentially what happened is I didn't have enough energy to pay for both the program cost and the overload amount, because I lost 5 data. So what happens when you don't have enough energy, you go what's feedback shock, and you lose an attribute level. And that's pretty serious, because you saw that especially on a higher level, it takes quite a few upgrade modules to do. So the good news is it's paused, so it's not going to continue to shock me. But you see, I'm down to 3 energy. Now remember time. It's already day 4. I have 30 days. I still don't have any followers, and there is a follower decay. So if you're not fighting, you get a slow decay. All right, so we're going to end the day. So again, just pause. Nothing going on. So we're gonna, and so you can kind of quickly click through here. So now we're day 7 already. So we're going to get, we're going to go with, see, because we've got this capacity right now, it's still being held up. So right now we can't delete. I am going to add a delete option for the next build, just to give this system a little more flexibility. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start this program, since I need to hurry up and get some data. So I'm still within the confines of being safe, so I'm going to go ahead and hit end day. Okay, good. So I didn't overload, but I only got 2 data. I still only have 6. There's actually some pretty poor rolls. Usually I do a little better with this. And this is, again, where I'm getting less data because I have a significant negative in my percentage. Remember, I have let me back out of here. So we go in our data panel. See, I have a negative 25% data gain. So that's going to kind of hamper me from the start. So something, if you plan on using this system quite a bit, and you'll be able to train, remember those skill trees I talked about earlier, you'll actually also be able to train actions through this system too. that I used in combat. All right, so I am going to 40% the way I'm going. Okay, well, I'm gonna take the 0, and okay, well, I got 2, so that's good. So I'm almost there, and all right, so there's really not much else I can do, and that's why it's good to have a lot of programs. So I guess I'm taking this unless I want to do a long term, but see, all of them are a minimum 2. So this is where, you know, managing your risk reward comes into play. So we'll go ahead and start the program. Hopefully it doesn't burn out on me. Okay, good. It did not. So, all right, I now have enough data. So that's good. All right, so now I have my new goal. So you start out with a pistol, and that's it. And you can't walk into a fight with just a pistol. So we go to the armory, and we get more weapons. Now this is what I have right now. You can click on it, and you can kind of get the information about it. So this is what's available to us at our rank. So we are rank D. You start at rank D, and you gain rank through earning reputation. So you have a lifetime reputation. And reputation is what's used to unlock more bosses. You can't fight a boss that you don't have a high enough reputation level. When you fight a boss and you win, they have a prestige amount. You gain that amount of prestige plus that amount in reputation. So right now, I have no reputation. So I need to buy a melee weapon, which you can see I've got a couple micro melee and then a steel sword. So let's take a look. Why would we spend 8 versus 5? Well, the knife, I mean, it's fast and it's somewhat accurate, has a -1, but you see it only does a maximum of 4 damage. So, you know, it is what it is. You can dual wield it. It does only take up 1 equipment spare. I really should change that to 0.5. I probably will do that next time. And it's very cheap. It only costs 1 prestige. Everything costs prestige to equip, which you'll see in a moment. The whip, let's take a look at that. So it's a little more prestigious, no energy, but it's a lot less accurate, which makes sense. I mean, whips are harder to control. Now, it does have more attack dice, so that helps, but same amount of damage, still 4. So you're basically trading a better chance to hit something versus less overall damage. So not great. So let's look at the steel sword. Same thing, also a little more vibe. Vibe is important. That's actually a really important concept, because the more vibe you build up, the more people tune in to the fight, and the more followers you can gain, which is kind of the whole point. That and not dying. All right. So again, cheap prestige, 1 ready time, no energy needed. So a little inaccurate, but look at this: 2 attack dice and 1d6 plus 1, and it can also be dual wielded. So that's exciting. So if you remember from the last video, the War Knight did a dual wield steel sword attack to pretty significant effect. So that's something we could maybe do. So I think right now, and see, I can't afford the quarterstaff. Is cool. Just to show you, its cool thing is it has a 2 distance range. That's kind of its main thing, but you can't dual wield it. So there are going to be eventually a few hundred weapons that you'll be able to select from. You know, right now this is just enough to kind of, and see, here's all weapons. You can kind of look and see there's some C-level weapons. So there's, you know, a minigun, mag pistol, a ripper. This is fun. I like this weapon. Basically, it looks like something you get out of like Doom or something. Anyway, but we can't afford that, so we're just going to go available, and we're going to unlock a steel sword. All right, so now we have a new sword. Now we're going to unlock weapons. There's our armory. Yay! All right, well, now it's time to fight. So before we do that, I'm going to show you one other thing. This is the upgrade center. I want to keep this video fairly short, so I'm going to go ahead and show it to you. You can actually go to it even without the goal. And this is where you actually upgrade. Now what's cool about it is you can actually trade in resources. Like for now, I've been gaining prestige every day. Right now it's +1 a day because I don't have any record. So essentially the better your record, like win-loss record, the more prestige you gain on a daily basis. If you have a losing record, you can only gain one a day. You always gain at least one a day, so you always have some gain. But if you have a losing record, you can never gain more than one a day. And prestige becomes really important, especially when you're trying to buy higher end equipment for your fight. But anyway, you can actually cash in. Like if I want to, here's the upgrade modules. See how much those cost. I can actually cash in prestige, so I can actually buy 3. So let's say I wanted to get a processor 2.0, or actually let's say I wanted latency. I wanted to be able to move a little bit more, so I could cash in 2 more modules and see how it would go from 1 to 3. And see, now I can afford it. I go up. See, now my action segments went up from 2 to 3, so that gives me a little more strategic options. And once you cash in, by the way, you cannot uncancel. You can only cancel, you can take back the upgrades, but you can cancel and close. So I haven't decided whether to keep it that way or to just, if you cancel, you just, all of your conversion is fixed. So that's one of the things we're working on. So anyway, so we'll go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and accept upgrade. All right, so you see now we went up. You see now we have action segments are now up to 3, which will come in handy. So we're about to start our first fight. So you want to make sure that you're pretty close to maximum energy, and you want to have a decent amount of prestige. So again, since I spent the prestige, I have to burn a day. So we're up to 11 out of 30. So we're going to go to the arena. All right, so we're going to see what can fight. So currently there are 4 bosses. Again, when we get to I'll be adding a roadmap shortly. We want to have dozens and dozens of bosses. Each boss, and we actually want to have procedurally generated bosses. These are all sort of hand created, so to speak. But we also want to have procedurally generated ones so that you have kind of a more fresh gameplay. So right now, the only one that you can fight is this guy, Crystallis Joseph. There's a joke in there if you're old enough. I'll let you figure it out though. He is basically the equivalent of bottom of the barrel. He has no reputation. He's got 2 fairly crappy weapons, Acid Sweat and Cyber Gloves. Take a look at these Cyber Gloves. So they cycle fast, but they have a +2 modifier, and they do 4 damage with a 2. Now, one thing that's also going to be added in the roadmap is weapons and equipment and power suits will have attributes that sort of differentiate themselves. So fire modes are one way. They can have, we talked about suppression in the last one. They can have semi-auto, full auto. They'll have different fire modes that affect, the 2-hit chances, that to affect the energy, that affect the ammo use. Right now, this doesn't show ammo. You don't need ammo for Cyber Gloves, but for Acid Sweat, it's organic, light organic. So this is kind of an odd one. So basically, he's sweating on you, but it takes him 5 segments to recycle. So, but it's very, very, very inaccurate. But you can see it does a fair amount of damage if you get close. So, but overall, this is not a very threatening boss. He has 11 energy. So you have, this is actually capped by your power suit, which you'll see shortly. He's slow, 2 walking, 5 running, only 2 armor, 4 agility, so that's his base to hit is 4. A rage of 8, and that's a system that we haven't added yet. Essentially, if their energy drops below that value, anytime after that point, every round, a check is made to see whether they basically upgrade into an advanced form, like a final form. But that is not in yet. And then stagger, and that essentially is how much damage they can take kind of in a continuous before they break, and that's kind of like a morale / break kind of thing. You can't attack when you're in stagger mode, but you get a significant defensive bonus. So we'll go ahead and select him. That's all we can do. So we'll go ahead and equip. So right now we only have 1 power suit unlocked, which is this one. This is also, you can unlock in the armory, and that's actually a big part of your tutorial, is unlocking a new power suit. And here is your boss, and these are kind of the stats, kind of in a pretty format. So this is your power suit. Now you see the red, so because of your stats, like here's max speed. This power suit would normally give you a 3-7. Okay, so you can see it's 3-7, but because you have stat issues, you only get 2 and 5 out of it because your attributes are low. Again, a 4 agility, that's not bad, but you only get a 2. So these can be green or red depending on whether your attributes improve the stats or take away from them. So your power suit's really, really important. I haven't talked much about it, but it's actually really critical, and it's going to get even more in future updates. So if you think about BattleTech, you know, your mech warrior is nothing without your mech, right? So your power suit is kind of like your mech. You attach weapons to it. It's powered up. It will have combat programs in a future update that you can run. Think of them as spells, if you will, that take energy. They have a loadout matrix. They have a maximum amount that they can hold. And they're also going to have attributes. So you'll have more specialty in power suits, but they do cost a certain amount of prestige. The nicer ones cost more. So this one here is pretty basic. You can hold up to 10 energy. So here, this is kind of an interesting, so you don't have to allocate all your energy. And this is kind of an important thing. Like, let's say you're fighting a boss, you're farming, you know, data, which you only get half data for each time you fight them. So you can't really do that too much. But let's say, like, oh, you know what? I think I can beat this guy and I only need 6 energy. That means it's only going to pull 6 energy from your avatar. So otherwise, it's going to pull 10 no matter what. So that 10 is taken away before the battle begins. So it doesn't matter if you don't get a scratch. If you don't use a single ounce of energy, the energy is gone. You're going to finish with 4 energy. And as you can see, and what's going to be more important, energy is critical for like everything you do. Any type of activity you do in the overworld is going to cost you energy. So you don't really want to waste it, because you can see, you know, you're only getting +3 a day. All right, so we have 3 slots. So a pistol costs 1 slot. So we're going to go ahead, and it's cheap. We have just cheap stuff, so we just don't have a lot right now. But obviously, when you have a bigger armory and you have more stuff to pick from, this screen becomes very important. And I'm going to be updating this screen. Like, it works pretty well, but it's not great for what it needs to do, especially when combat programs and equipment are added. So this will get a bit of a makeover. But right now, for just weapons and also ammo, you'll be able to add additional ammo. Like if you go into here, so you can actually, it's already in the game. There's just not a way to actually add it yet. But you'll be able to purchase additional ammo. So your pistol starts with 2, but you can buy additional ammo for 1 prestige. It costs a quarter of a slot, basically. That's what these little, you know, mini squares are for. So you'll be able to essentially bring along additional ammo. And some of the higher end weapons, the ammo will be quite expensive. You'll also be able to buy different kinds of ammo for things like rocket launchers and shotguns. They'll have specialized ammo. All right, so we're going to bring 2 pistols and 1 sword. So that closes out our matrix. We're going to go ahead and take all the energy available. That leaves us 2 prestige left. So you see it's slow to update, although if we win, we'll gain 2 prestige a day, so that will help. So there's a lot of things you already have to consider when you're kind of outfitting, because, you know, you've got 19 days left, so you have to think, okay, how long is it going to take me to rebuild enough prestige to fight? You know, do I want to wait and build up prestige, you know, to fight a bigger boss and gain more followers? Because the higher rank the boss, the more reputation they have, the more people tune into a fight, and that includes you, so you become a draw. If you're always fighting guys like this all the time, hardly anyone's going to tune in. So that's another consideration. All right, so we're going to go ahead and initiate combat. We've got everything selected, and you have to, of course, select a weapon. If you didn't select a weapon, it's not going to let you do it. So you have to have at least one. I will tell you, having a melee weapon is a must, because if you run out of ammo, then you basically have to surrender. So, I mean, there's no rule. It's not hard-coded that you have to take a melee weapon, but it is very difficult to win, I found, in testing, unless you just have an amazing gun and you don't waste ammo. All right, so we're going to initiate combat. So we're going to go ahead and zoom out, and you basically go straight in. So this is the main bad guy right here. You'll see him a lot as you play. All right, so now you're in the fight, and we'll have a little bit neater transition, of course. Remember, this is a prototype. So, one thing about when you play the career, you learn a little bit more about these bosses. They have a history. You'll find, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's a lot more to these bosses than just opponents. They sort of reveal more about themselves, and there's actually quite a bit to do depending on how you interact with the boss. One of the things we're going to add is taunts. So throughout the match, you'll have actions that can cut in, and if you win or if you miss, say miss a shot, you may get taunted, and they'll speak to you. It's pretty cool. That functionality is actually already in. I had an earlier version of a tutorial, combat tutorial, but a lot of stuff changed, so I ended up taking it out. All right. So I'm not gonna fight the battle since I showed that in the last video, but just to kind of show Crystallis Joseph. See, he's a lot less powerful. He has 11, but he has very thin armor and a -3. So generally that means almost anything that attacks him will take out his armor. Oh, but my armor is even thinner. Remember, I didn't put any points into it, so anything will shred my armor. And then you see that my stagger level is less. Because it's based on agility and speed, and that I have much of neither. Well, his is a little bit higher. So I'm going to go ahead. So you have some options. You can actually surrender. So if you surrender, so you see right now there's 4.8 million people watching this fight. More will tune in. If your vibe is good, more people will tune in. And at the end of the fight, a percentage of those will become followers. I'm probably going to change that to where they become followers in real time, so you can kind of see like a little ching, you know, as they follow, kind of hit like or whatever. So it's a little more visceral. But for now, they just have a percentage. So you want to get this number as high as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and surrender, and just to kind of get out of this and get back to the overworld. So I'm going to lose. So I just surrendered. So sad. You can tell he doesn't win much. And remember, these models will be full models, full 3D models, full animation. I already have several models. I have to kind of prep them. I don't really know that much about animation. I've had to learn a lot to kind of get the UI animated, which is cool. But that's actually coming up next. All right, so this is the end of result. So we lost. We're 0-1. We did gain followers. That's one nice thing, especially early on. If you fight, you're always going to gain like an initial, that first fight, you'll get a certain amount of people that are like, oh, cool, this guy looks pretty interesting. Gained no data, gained no prestige. So, you know, not much going on there. So we're going to go back, we're dropped back into Ozymandias, so literally, because you remember the arena is on high. So, basically, that is the loop of gameplay right now. So again, day has passed. So now when I end the day, see, you find out I surrendered. I didn't gain anything. This shows you an update. I still have that training program on pause. That's cooling down. So I gained energy. And this is the career progression. So this shows you as you gain reputation. It actually is 100 total reputation. So it's not, you know, so if I were to fight a boss that had, say, 10 reputation, I would, every time I fought them in one, I would gain gain it. However, reputation drops when you beat them. You know, it's kind of like a ranking system. So you can't just keep beating them and then expect to gain prestige and reputation, because you're taking it away from them literally. So there's that. So we'll go ahead and end it here. So I'll go ahead and save. Yes, you can already save. So I'll go ahead and save this. I'll probably pick it up in another, because I want to kind of have a sequence of videos that kind of show a career and show what a full month looks like, and show what the judgment looks like. So you see, so we still have quite a ways to go. We're 4.8 million, but we've got a long way to fill this bar. We've got about, let's see, 19 days to correct. And this kind of shows you just a real quick tour. Name, rank, you have a title, you gain titles as you gain reputation, day and cycle, reputation, prestige, data, upgrade modules, and your program capacity, and then your daily change. And then here is your energy available and followers, and this is your current record, and this directly affects your prestige. So yeah, so that's about it for now. Thank you guys for following. I will post another video shortly to kind of continue this career. You can kind of see a little bit more of what's going on. Thank you for watching.